Peace, everybody. Peace and love. It is your girl, Empress ShayMarie. How's everybody doing on this beautiful Thursday? I have to say, I'm doing totally opposite of how I was feeling yesterday. I was like, blah, for real. I was in a lot of pain. But I did the work to get myself, heal myself. Came up out of this stuff early this rising through the middle of the night. And I am so happy and grateful to be here today with you all again. I'm happy and grateful to be able to continue on this journey with everyone. It's definitely been an amazing time. So give me a moment here. I'm going to get started. We're going to pick up on chapter 6 today of the 0%. If you're just coming in, please hit the like button. Grand Rising, honey. Y'all know I gotta get my music going. I ain't gonna have it too loud though. Put that God frequency on. You feel me? All right, so I usually try to wait till 5 after to get started. Just to allow a few people to hop on so they won't miss anything. Okay. So chapter 6 today is talking about credit secrets, investing, and banking. So this is going to be very interesting. Okay. We're going to get into it in a second. Make sure y'all like and share this out. Let's build up this algorithm. All right. Okay, let's get into it. So, chapter 6 of 0%, credit secrets, investing, and banking. The economy is changing, and it is changing rapidly in the eyes of money. There are precious metals, notes, bonds, certificates, commodities, and most recently, Bitcoin, digital dollar, and digital wallets. Per the 116th Congress 2D session, one second, guys. Oh, goodness. It's always something. Always a freaking distraction. Okay, we got it. Let's go. It says, per the 116th Congress 2D session, quote, financial protections and assistance for America's consumers, states, businesses, and vulnerable populations act, end quote. Even states in America such as Nevada, Utah, and Texas now mint and print gold-backed currency exchangeable in their states for goods and services. Everyone has heard that cash is king. However, this new system is not the case. Credit is king, and the world is preparing for two monetary systems for two types of money. The first system is a credit digital dollar system for all U.S. citizens operating outside of a natural person. The second, precious metals for all nationals operating within a natural person known as an express trust. Credit is king. Therefore, It is wise to review a couple of useful credit tips that any FICO professional would advise. Credit tip 1: how many credit cards should one have? Well, the answer is as many as possible. The more the better. But the real question is, what is the minimum amount of credit cards one should have? The answer is three credit cards. One moment, please. I had to clear my throat. Okay, my bad. Okay, it says the answer is three credit cards for what is the minimum amount of credit cards one should have. So that's your minimum. So we've been kind of taught wrong because I can always remember being taught that we should only have like three credit cards at the maximum. So apparently we've been taught wrong. Okay, so it says FICO, the Fair Isaac Company, has implemented a scoring model based on revolving credit as 40% of the entire FICO score, ranking higher than late payments, mortgages, or student loans. The key is to have credit cards open at all times, with balances maintained at 7% or less. FICO, oh my bad. FICO has figured out that if a borrower can maintain three credit cards under 7%, the likelihood of having a derogatory item over the next 24 months is extremely low, so the score increases. If borrowers go over 7% up to the 17%, then the score drops 10%. It is about 10%, it is about 10 points for every 10% of the credit limit. If the limit is 100% max, it will lose approximately 100 points. Credit tip 2: does canceling credit cards boost the credit score? The answer is absolutely no. Jumping back to the first credit tip, FICO always wants to see at least three credit cards because it shows responsibility. If borrowers closed all accounts and canceled all credit cards, thinking that no credit is good credit, FICO will then view the debtor as an alcoholic that avoids the local bars. In this case, the proper terms to use is a creditaholic, one who abuses credit. FICO will not trust the borrower with credit if they don't trust themselves. It is also good to practice using specific types of credit cards to avoid cancellation. Using Visa or MasterCard can Using Visa or MasterCard pay networks is highly preferred over department store credit cards. Department cards only Department cards can only be used at the particular store and not everywhere. Visa or MasterCard is accepted. Therefore, it forces the card user to shop more than they need to. And if the card user doesn't make purchases, then the credit card company will decrease the card's limit or cancel the account, which will decrease the FICO score drastically. It is best to have three major credit cards that can be used anywhere: one for living expenses, the second for monthly bills, and the third for miscellaneous spending, such as batteries for the smoke detectors or auto repair maintenance. It is imperative to use credit cards every month sparingly. If the credit card user chooses to max the cards to receive the cash back or rewards, pay off or pay down the credit card limit 7% to the credit limit 7% mark. Okay? So it says, if the credit user chooses to max the cards to receive the cash back or rewards, you want to pay off or down to the credit limit 7% mark. Okay. And last but not least, pay off 100% of the balance 2 months before applying for new credit cards or new loans. Credit tip 3. Does paying off installment loans early increase the FICO score? No. Before diving into this question, determining the difference between installment credit and revolving credit is critical. Revolving and installment credit come in the form of secured and unsecured credit. Installment credit is an extension by fixed and scheduled payments made until the loan is paid in full. If the scheduled payment is $10 per month at 50 months, and the borrower paid 49 payments of $10 each month, the remaining payoff balance would be $10, and the $4,900 paid to the bank would not be available to the borrower. Revolving credit is renewed as the debt is paid, allowing the borrower access to a credit line whenever needed. FICO's scoring model for early installment loan payoff is likened to the medical field when pregnant women is in care of a physician. Here's a fair question. Would the physician prefer the pregnant woman to go into delivery in the ninth month or early in the sixth month? Of course, the physician and the mother would prefer to go to the full term for a healthy delivery. It is the same concept for installment loans. Banks set out an agreement for principal and interest and prefer the debtor to go the full term in paying off their loan. So, how exactly can the debtor maintain good credit, save money, and not procure an early installment loan penalty? Applying the credit card, applying the target employee, Mr. Wellington. Once more, Mr. Wellington has a $10,000 personal loan with a scheduled payment term of 57 months at $184.46 per month. To avoid prepayment penalty, Mr. Wellington will pay down the loan to the number of scheduled payments. In this case, the remaining balance goal would be 57. Therefore, Mr. Wellington would work to submit a principal payment of $9,943, and for the next 57 months, he would pay $1 plus interest and change per month. With this method, Mr. Wellington has avoided prepayment penalties, reduced the payment debt obligation, and maintained excellent payment history for the installment loan, fulfilling the 57-month term. If Mr. Wellington did not have a $9,943 in cash, he would select to use a revolving credit card and utilize the credit card payment system provided in credit tip 5. Okay. Credit tip 4. Is it best to use debit cards or credit cards? Never use debit cards, but always use credit cards. When it comes to practicing good credit management, using credit cards in the same manner as a debit card is more rewarding. Most credit cards offer 2% cash back for groceries, gas, and purchases, and all purchases as a whole. Debit cards are a one-time payment transaction without interest, which does not provide purchasing power for FICO points. There are more debit card transactions than there are credit transactions in North America. Switching all debit cards to credit card would use, I'm sorry, Switching all debit cards to credit card use would maximize the 40% FICO scoring model and have the banks begging consumers to take new credit card offers. The average American household family income is an annual $35,977, according to the 2019 U.S. Census Bureau, at $2,998 per month. This family would comfortably spend approximately $3,000 per month using this budget, precisely 30% of a $10,000 credit limit. With $3,000 in monthly transactions to pay for all bills and living expenses, the family would pay off the $3,000 on payday, ready for next month's transactions, taking advantage of all the available cashback rewards. The use of a credit card offers additional protection at local gas stations because the user's funds are not immediately withdrawn from the user's bank account. In contrast, debit cards are riskier as credit thieves favor gas stations and might be able to access users' accounts with their PIN. Credit tip 5. What is the fastest way to increase the credit score? The fastest and most efficient strategy to increase the credit score is by forcing the credit bureaus to report payments twice per month legally. The key is to pay attention to the statement closing date because most creditors report payment activity 3 to 4 days after the statement closing date. For instance, a credit card payment due on the 13th of every month and a statement closing date on the 21st of every month with a $150 monthly payment, the borrower should pay $75 the first half and the first on the first and $75 the second half on the 13th. Paying on the first allows enough time for the payment to post before the second payment is applied on the actual due date. The borrower can use the credit card at any time in the month except during the closing cycle, which is the third which is 3 to 4 days from the statement closing date, which is the 21st through the 25th. This is definitely a lot to learn, you guys. The borrower can also spend any amounts within their means, ensuring that the balance is within 7% to 30% before the statement closing date. The first half of the payment is usually right on schedule with the creditor's statement date. This method will decrease the interest due and cause a double payment reported to the credit bureaus. This these helpful tips have maintained healthy personal business credit reports. When it comes to living in trust, deciding to operate in the public or private can be jarring. But with full knowledge and understanding, choosing one or the other is easy. Utilizing both sides of the ledger is necessary for credit purposes. Using the foreign estate EIN to build corporate business credit, obtaining a paydex score, and personal credit, obtaining a FICO score is possible. The truth about the estate is that it is the highest form of credit anyone could ever access. And the best way to access its treasures is through bankruptcy court, paired with the foreign express trust. Companies build their corporate credit profiles for a certain predetermined number of years with a plan to bankrupt the entity while storing all of its assets or property inside the trust. Consequently, all corporate debts, such as loans and credit lines, are foreign without selling the assets to cover the debts. It's no wonder prominent investors such as Donald Trump and Mitt Romney utilize the bankruptcy strategy. Whenever bankruptcy occurs, the social security number or the company's employer identification number is used to obtain a bankruptcy estate number, which has an abundance of securities to pay off the existing debt. This strategy has worked well for those who know how to plan with real estate. Suppose a potential borrower's application is approved for financing a $580,000 house in their name using the Social Security number and then proceeds to transfer the title into the name of a foreign express trust. Removing all county tax liability, the applicant files for bankruptcy to avoid foreclosure. The court utilizes the estate to pay off the mortgage obligation without selling the property or processing a short sale. The applicant is not the owner, but only the express trust with the trustee as the title's legal owner. Therefore, the trustee remains the holder and legal owner of the title, and the mortgage obligation is discharged from the borrower's credit report. Since the express trust is the secured party holding a $9 billion lien against the first, middle, last name debtor as the holder in due course. During this 7 to 8 year period, the debt free individual can apply for all the credit they want. Credit card companies often flood the mailboxes of recent bankruptcy filers because creditors know the applicant's name, social security number, and a signature will allow the creditor to have instant access to the estate as a claim to the abandoned securities. Wow. Within the 7 to 8 year window, the bankruptcy estate continuously pays off debt. Financiers would have the, I'm sorry. It says financiers would have the general public believe there is no credit available during bankruptcy. It would much serve the courts, the counties, and the state to not inform the people of the bankruptcy court's truths. During the 7 to 8 year period, the municipalities are taking advantage of the estate's abandonment. The municipalities use IRS Form 1099 acquisition or abandonment of secure property and 1096 annual summary and transmittal of U.S. information returns, procuring all of the abandoned securities with the state and county controller office. Chapter 7 bankruptcies are occasionally referred to as liquidation bankruptcies. Firms and associates experiencing this form of bankruptcy are past the reorganization stage and must sell off any non exempt assets to pay creditors. To qualify for a Chapter 7 relief, the debtor can be a corporation, an individual, or a small business. However, one is forbidden from filing for bankruptcy if another bankruptcy petition was dismissed within the previous 180 days due to the debtor's failure to show up in court. A debtor a debtor likewise forgoes the right to file for bankruptcy if the debtor agrees to dismiss a former case after creditors ask the bankruptcy court to grant them the right to seize properties on which they hold the liens. The critical takeaway is having all property and assets held in the express trust, resulting in an exempted status. The express trust holds the real lien, exempting the assets from being sold to pay off the creditors. The law of the land obtains this Chapter 7 rule from the Bible, specifically from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 15, verse 1 through 2, which reads, "At the end of every 7 years, you shall grant a release of debts, and this is the form of the release. Every creditor who has lent anything to his neighbor shall release it. He shall not require it of his neighbor or his brother, because it is called the Lord's release." New King James Version. And I'm going to take a sip of water on that note. So, shout out to Marcus Allen. Shout out to Empress D. Peace, Empress. And I shouted out Mother Vicky already. I'm not sure who else is watching. I see we got 9 people. Let's see. We got a new Peace, Glenda Walker. Peace and love. Mike Mikhail. Peace to you. Blessings. All right. Back to the read. What y'all think about that scripture? When it comes to building private personal credit, using the foreign estate IEN to avoid using the Social Security number is easy and perfectly legal under the Section 7 of Privacy Act of 1974, Title 5 U.S. Code 552A, which and it provides, quote, it shall be unlawful for any federal, state, or local government agency to deny to any individual any right, benefit, or privilege provided by law because of such individual's refusal to disclose his Social Security number or Social Security account number. Section 7A1, end quote. The first step is to file a fictitious business name or DBA with the county of business operations. The name should be in the format of your upper and lowercase name. Okay? Okay, so your upper and lowercase name, family, of the last name, estate, DBA, first name, middle name, last name, using the registered address as the principal place of residence. Okay, let's read that again. So your name should be in the format as follows: your first name, middle name, and then it'll be family of your last name, estate, DBA, doing business as your first name, middle name, and last name. Okay, in upper and lower. As you can see, it's all upper and lower. No uppercase. Okay, using the register address as the principal place of residence. So the register address is the register address. Okay, a different email address and a new phone number not connected with any past Social Security number, ITN number, credit profile. Okay. Then it says the second step is to create an internet presence with the same name, new address, new phone number, and new email address. So you want to create an email, a Hotmail, Yahoo, or Gmail account using listyourself.net, followed by signing up with different department stores, airlines, and fuel reward cards or programs. Okay. The third step is to wait 30 days before applying for Capital One Auto Finance Program, Apple Card, Amazon, and American Express to deny credit. The denial will create a credit profile with the major credit bureaus using the information provided with different department stores, airlines, and fuel reward cards programs. The fourth step is to wait another 30 days to finalize the credit profile before reapplying to Capital One for their Capital One Secured MasterCard, providing a refundable deposit anywhere from $49 to $200. The same process should take place with Discover IT and Merrick Bank or the like. Goal is to have three major credit cards reporting for a high credit score and to have the credit limit of all three credit cards eventually equate to 3.5 times the amount of the credit user's monthly bills. For example, if Mr. Wellington consistently pays out $4,500 per month in living expenses, then each of the three credit cards should have a minimum limit of $5,250, totaling $15,750, with a combination of all three credit cards and spending only 30% of the $15,750. Mr. Wellington would have paid all of his monthly living expenses and maintained a 30% credit card utilization, which secures the credit card profile to sustain a 760 to 800 FICO score. The estate only be used for the SSNITIN but never for mortgages or auto loans as an SSNITIN. Federal mortgages must always utilize government-backed uncertificated securities such as the SSNITIN. Note, the estate EIN can utilize its credit to obtain auto loans or leases, but only in the form of a business application using the EIN format. Okay, as you can see, 12-34567889, not the Social Security format, which is 123-45-6789. Okay, are we following? Y'all getting some Y'all getting some drops today. This is definitely some good information. Miss Glenda Walker says, where do I start learning the fundamentals of this study? Right now, I find it confusing as though my mind is blocking understanding. Maybe I can start at the beginning comprehension. I would say, Mother Glenda, go to the very beginning, meet your straw man, and listen to that as many times as you possibly have to. From Meet Your Strawman, you can listen to the commercial, the UCC Connections, and the Commercial Laws Applied books that are also on this channel. And then you can click the link in the description area. I have a list of I have a list of recommended books that I recommend. Okay. And then if you're in Freedom Riders, we kind of, you know, are going through this knowledge together. We have a library of PDF files that you can have access to as well. So if you're interested in joining the group, um, you have to email me to sign a non-disclosure. Okay. So please hit the like. Thank you, Mr. Somebody. All right. Um, all right, let's continue on. We got 12 people watching. I need the likes. I don't know where my likes is at, but let me get 12 likes at the same time. Hit the like button as you come in. Also share, like, and subscribe if you're new to this channel, okay? All right, moving on. This is definitely a good read. To build corporate business credit using the same foreign estate EIN, some additional steps are necessary. Upon completing the fictitious business name statement or DBA, the first step is to draft the estate's articles of unincorporated association in the fictitious business name, such as, okay, so as you can see here, it's all caps. So there's the first name, middle, family, last name, estate, and file it with the Secretary of State. So you want to create a business, unincorporated business association, um, and file it with the Secretary of State. Being that Mr. Wellington is from California, he will use the California Secretary of State's UA 100 form to properly file his estates association, filing the register's address as the business address in the same manner provided on the IRS EIN online estate application. Okay. This will provide the business to file for a Duns and Bradstreet number. This will prepare the business to file for a Duns and Bradstreet number, an essential step to ensure the corporate business profile is viewed as a legitimate company, leading to the opening of an unincorporated business association bank account through Chase Bank, among others, is a great bank that offers this type of business bank account with easy requirement instructions on their website. When applying for a DUNS number, the business address, mailing address, business number, business phone number, and business email address must be separate from the personal estate credit profile. Note, the business email address must not be generic, such as Hotmail or Gmail or mail.com. Is available is an available option to satisfy this requirement. Okay, it says, oh, okay, let me go back. It says, note, the business email address must not be generic, such as Hotmail or Gmail, but mail.com is an available option to satisfy this requirement. For example, cwestate@accountant.com. The information previously used to obtain the estate number online with the IRS could be consistent with the DUNS application. It is essential to select the correct SIC, Standard Industrial Classification, or NAICS, North American Industrial Classification System. As a final step, the corporate business estate should obtain a corporate seal expressing its full corporate name and establishment date. The seal is placed along any signatures approved by its president or board members. To get it to get a jump on building the credit immediately, switch all personal utility accounts a cell phone providers, cell phone providers, home internet, gas company, electric company, and water company from the personal SSN, ITIN name to at home or rental unit to the estate business, first name, middle name, family, last name, estate. Furthermore, sign up the eCredible Business Solutions and link all the newly transferred utility accounts into the eCredible Business Solutions profile. They will report the past 24 months of payments history to the business credit bureaus, whereas the individual companies would not. These accounts can be reported in as little as 14 days up to 45 days, providing an instant business credit score. After successfully obtaining a DUNS number, it's time to obtain vendor credit from commercial vendors that provide net 30 payment terms to report to the major credit bureaus such as Dun and Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian, Business TransUnion, Credit Safe, SBFE, Ansonia, and NACM. These accounts must be paid within 30 to 60 days. The following vendors will provide instant corporate net 30 or net 60 payment terms for new businesses, and it is advised to regularly purchase items for the business. Shirsty, Grown Office Supplies, Creative Analysis, Uline, Granger, Quill, Sumo Office Supplies, Office Depot, Office Max, HD Supplies, Strategic Network Solutions, NAV Business Boost. NAV is a credit monitoring system that can provide all credit reporting information from the corporate estate paydex score and the personal estate FICO score for $39 per month. As of the first quarter of 2021, the payments are reported to all major business credit bureaus as a trade line. Okay. The process of opening an unincorporated business association bank account in the name of the estate, as previously mentioned, will require obtaining the additional EIN due to National Association banks can only do business with EINs that have a responsible party Social Security number attached to the creation of the EIN for insurance guarantee purposes. Another important reason to obtain an additional EIN in the estate's name is bank rules and regulations. If a potential account holder, such as Mr. Wellington, were to walk into a bank to open an estate account using the foreign estate EIN that he has established credit with, the bank manager wouldn't know what to think of the situation. If the banks see an estate account only applies to a descendant, if the bank's eyes, an estate account only applies to a descendant and a third party or an executor would open the account on behalf of the deceased. If Mr. Wellington used a proxy or a third party to open this type of account, the bank would require a death certificate as proof of death, which is a dead end. Therefore, obtaining another EIN that does not have any language within the IRS CP 557 form, such as EIN, the EIN identity your estate or trust will be required to open a business account in the first name, middle name, family of last name estate without raising any concerns. This new EIN would serve for bank purposes only. Mr. Wellington would apply the following steps via the IRS EIN online. 1. Identity. Select. View additional types. including tax-exempt and government organizations. Identity, select other nonprofit tax-exempt organizations. Identity, select banking purposes. 2. Authenticate, enter full birth name as the responsible party with a social security number. Okay. 3. Put your address, enter a private mailing address. 4. Details, enter Christopher Alexander Wellington Estate, followed by the county of the place of business and month and year the original estate number was obtained. 4. Details, enter no for the 5 required questions. 4. Details, select other. 4. Details, again select other and type unincorporated business association. 5. EIN confirmation, select receive letter online. Once the IRS has provided the EIN via the CP 557, Mr. Wellington can then provide it with the Secretary of State stated Articles of Association Form UA 100, the Accounting Fictitious Name Statement or DBA, and 2 forms of ID from the association's secretary to open the account at the Chase Bank or any other bank. The fictitious name statement reveals to the bank that the account can receive any payment in the first name, middle name, family name of last name estate, or first name, middle name, last name. The bank will provide a debit card to the secretary with Mr. Wellington's full name to administrate everyday transactions as he would a regular checking account. The sole purpose is to avoid creating securities under the SSN ITIN with the banks. Whether debit or credit under an unincorporated business association EIN, all transactions can now account for business expenses during the annual tax filing period using the Foreign Express Trust. The trust office will never owe a tax but instead receive tribute under treaty law because the trust was forced to pay sales tax and interest attached to the standard pricing of everyday business expenses, which the trust is exempt from. Therefore, a refundable payment on every accountable dollar is due to the express trust. This is the ultimate tax saving strategy that can take place now rather than in retirement. After the bank account is securely opened, Mr. Wellington or his secretary can begin the reclassification process, converting the newly obtained domestic unincorporated association EIN to a foreign association under the Express Trust 98 number using IRS Form 8832. As previously instructed, the business or this business bank account should be the primary account used by Mr. Wellington to embrace the new private banking lifestyle that the 0% tax bracket requires. All other accounts in the birth name using the SSN ITN should be closed in good standing. Anyone in business who relies on business credit will advise that it is crucial to never become late on any payment due with vendors or credit card companies. Once the estate business credit profile has 6 months, of established net 30 payments, a commercial fleet and secured credit cards can be obtained. This will lead to high limit credit unsecured cards from American Express, Brex Credit Card, Amazon, eBay, Olo, Capital One, PayPal, Lowe's, just to name a few. The foreign estate EIN should be the lifeline to the user's estate for all commercial purposes. The goal is to avoid creating SSN ITIN public insurance on certificated securities through contracts. Being a part of the 0% tax bracket is a lifestyle change. Again, the estate is to be used for business accounts to achieve a paydex score and a personal private account achieving a FICO score. If anyone ever needs or needed to press the reset button in the world of credit, this is the way to do it. Obtaining a mortgage should be the only reason to maintain good credit on the SSN ITIN credit profile, which means only keep specific installment accounts open and avoid avoiding credit cards, insurance accounts, bank accounts, auto loans, and personal loans that induces interstate transactions. The following installment accounts are suggested sources or suggested are a suggested source to keep open on the SSN ITIN credit profile for obtaining mortgage financing. Credit Strong Savings CD account, a self lender CD account, a My Jewelers account, a New Coast Direct account. As a let me drink some water, please. Whew, this stuff getting good. Peace, Asia. How are you? Okay. All right. As of February 2021, two of the above suggested accounts, My Jewelers and New Coast, will report up to $5,000 trade line limit. Self lender will provide a maximum of 1,663 certificate of deposit up at $150 per month as a savings account. At the end of the term, the user will receive their savings in the form of a check. It is advised to reuse the money on auto pay from the Unincorporated Business Association account for the next new CD term. Credit Strong will apply a maximum of $10,000 installment account reporting to the credit bureaus for $110 per month. Combine these accounts to the SSN credit profile for a total of $21,663 as installment credit to maintain good credit when the time comes to obtain financing for a mortgage, which will be gifted from Christopher Alexander Wellington, grantor, to Heinz Wolfgang Express Trust, the grantee. Wow. To ensure instant approval when filing a credit application, the SSN ITIN credit profile information must not cross-reference or mix with the personal estate credit profile. Utilize the United States Postal Office change of address and mail forwarding service, which costs only $1. This will ensure that the SSN ITIN profile records the county courthouse as the resident address. Okay, so you want to make the county courthouse the resident address. So the county courthouse is going to be the address for your straw man, your SSN number. Okay. The personal estate profile has a record of the county register as the resident's address with its own separate mailing address. Lastly, the corporate business estate profile records the selected iPostal address as the place of business and mailing address. Okay, so your corporate business estate will have the iPostal address as its place of business. Okay, the SSN ITIN credit profile place of residence would include the Berth County Courthouse address. After all, this is the origin of the ins legis creation, and the CAFR accounts were held. Okay, the CAFR accounts were held. No mail will come to this address because the new private mailbox will be on file as the current mailing address, i.e., new iPostal accounts. Ensure the SSN credit profile has consistent credit application information such as its phone number, email address, Hotmail, Yahoo, or Gmail, place of employment, annual salary amount, U.S. citizen date of birth, and rent mortgage amounts. Once all of the information is obtained, list it within the listyourself.net database. Register the information with the three credit bureaus and apply with three auto dealers on three separate credit applications with the exact information. Approval or denial does not matter in this case. If approved, do not accept it. Walk away, informing that the credit union may provide a better interest rate. After 30 days have passed, the applicant should attempt to remove all the credit inquiries created by the auto dealerships by contacting Sage Stream LLC and LexisNexis via mail or online to place a security freeze on the SSN ITIN report. This will prevent any further consumer credit pulls without the consumer's consent and easily allow invalid information to be removed, including the previous 3 auto credit inquiries. Suppose the credit bureaus are unable to validate the inquiries due to a credit freeze. In that case, the requested items are then removed atop utilizing Section 604 of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, 15 U.S.C. 6181B. 1681B as a dispute to the credit bureaus. The auto dealerships are the best choice for this method because dealerships are notorious for running more than one permitted credit pull to get the application approved that day. Some dealerships will continue to pull credit with other lenders up to a week later. The law that the dealership breaks regularly is known as impermissible credit pulls, to which they must have a permissible purpose. A permissible purpose is established, quote, following the written instructions of a consumer to whom it relates, end quote. The institution must obtain permission from the consumer in writing to obtain their consumer report. In this case, the consumer's verbal consent is not good enough, even if the documentation of such consent is maintained. For instance, if a potential borrower applies for an auto loan on December 21st, it is permitted that a financial institution utilize said consumer's December 21st report for a HELOC application on January 5th. Then the answer is no. Okay, let me read that again. It says, for instance, if a potential borrower applies for an auto loan on December 21st, is it permitted that a financial institution utilize said consumer's December 21st credit report for a HELOC application on January 5th? The answer is no. Once an institution establishes a permissible purpose to obtain a consumer's credit report, it is suitable only for one application and no more. Regardless of the amount of time between subsequent applications for credit, once the credit report is frozen, submit a 604 letter to the credit bureaus without a signature to prevent cross-matching credit application signatures, and watch the inquiries fall off the credit report with an increased credit score. At this point, removing the credit freeze is necessary to add the suggested installment accounts. Okay. Keeping these 3 credit profiles separate will allow for easy credit approval while maintaining a private commercial lifestyle without jeopardizing the national status. To recap, the requirement to establish a public insurance SSN ITIN credit profile for mortgage approval optional only includes your first name, middle name, last name, your date of birth, U.S. citizen, social security number, birth, county, courthouse address, then your I-postal 1 mailing address, your email address, okay, employment info, annual salary, new phone number. You can give a Google number, your rent or mortgage amount, register with your list yourself net, update change of address with USPS, establish installment credit accounts. To establish a corporate business credit profile includes your first name, middle name, family last name, estate, DBA, first name, middle name, last name, estate, and then estate EIN. Okay, your unincorporated associated EIN banking purposes. That's for banking purposes. Your DUNS number. You need your unincorporated business association articles organization. You need your mail.com professional emailing address. You need your corporate business phone number. You need your corporate business address. I-postal 1 business mailing address. Okay, you need a business service or real estate property management. Register with listyourself.net, corporate estate seal, and you need to establish vendor credit cards, business auto loans, and leases. And lastly, to establish a private personal credit profile includes your first name, middle name, last name, okay? Which would include the date of birth, U.S. This is the straw man, I believe. First name, middle name, last name, date of birth, U.S. citizen, estate EIN, in lieu of the SSN, your birth county, register address, postal mailing address, new Hotmail email address, self-employed info, annual salary, new phone number, rent, mortgage, amount registered with the list yourself.net, establish your secure credit cards, rental, lease, property. Of course, maintaining a healthy SSN ITIN credit profile to maintain a mortgage is a choice and not the only way to obtain property. One could take over a borrower's property who may be in distress and cannot afford to continue their mortgage payments by way of subject to which uses a quitclaim deed, avoiding any mortgage credit application. There is also obtaining property through private lenders, also known as hard money lenders. The interest rates are slightly higher than public FHA 3.5% or USDA 0%, and the deposits are usually not less than 20%. However, the obligation is never reported to the credit profile. It is a private transaction, and the credit report is only pulled to determine payment credibility. As mentioned before, a large portion of millionaires in the world have earned their profits from real estate, and it's time to reveal its trade secrets that will provide a massive return on investment. This trade secret is known as seller financing, and it is a tool that has been used for centuries around the world. Seller financing is a sale made where any part of the sales price becomes a note back to the seller, and real estate owners have a note, a mortgage, or a deed of trust instrument depending on the property's whereabouts. Some states are mortgage states and others are trust states. The note is the debt instrument containing the amount, interest, payment, and term. The document requires a guarantee by most lenders, and it is the document responsible for litigating in pursuit of collections. The mortgage or deed of trust document is used to attach the note to the house as collateral. There are many advantages to utilizing seller financing strategies. Following closely lowering closing costs on both sides of the transaction, lower interest rates, lower payments, no credit reports, no banks, reliable flexibility, no negative cash flow, no personal liability when using trust, eliminates the due on sale clause or balloon notes when buying, provides quick closings, eliminates sellers and sellers' attorneys' anxiety regarding selling a subject to allows the investor to create almost instant profits and huge monthly cash flows from very quickly. It also provides the seller a provable income stream to wash out their debt payment to qualify for another loan, and most of all, no maintenance, taxes, insurance, or vacancies when sold. A big question in real estate when using seller financing is how to avoid the due on sale clause. When transferring the title from one owner to another, a bank cannot stop a seller from selling with owner financing. However, they can call the loan due because it will trigger the due on sale clause, and this vital fact should always be disclosed with the seller. However, transferring a title into an entity such as an irrevocable express trust with a foreign owner, a foreign national trustee, would not trigger the due on sale clause. Using an irrevocable foreign express trust would exempt the trust from property taxes indefinitely. This strategy would be best only when deciding to keep the property from generation to generation. Should the investor plan to take over the property intending to sell the property for a profit, then a revocable land trust would be necessary, significantly reducing or exempting the property from county taxes. The Garn Street German Depository Institution Act of 1982, Public Law 97-320, H.R. 6267, allowed a significant consumer change regarding the title. The act granted anyone to place real estate in their trust without alerting the due on sale clause, allowing lenders to foreclose on a current loan upon transfer to another. This greatly facilitates the use of trust to pass property to heirs and minors and protects wealthy owners' property against a possible future lawsuit from creditors because the trust owns the property, not the individual beneficiaries at risk. Investors are investors use revocable land trusts to quickly obtain property from distressed sellers or sellers looking for another way to sell, taking on the existing payments. It is unlikely that the banks will call the loan due if payments continue to be received, and there is a way to cash out or pay off the loan if necessary, even if the investor sells on installments. All right. One of the best and secure seller finance strategies widely used amongst investors is a wraparound mortgage. It is merely one loan that encompasses another loan or loans of smaller value. Here is a typical example. The investor buys a house and takes over 140,000 first mortgage and a 20,000 second mortgage for $160,000. In the world of seller financing, the value of the house is determined by what the buyer is willing to pay. Now, the investor sells the house for $180,000 with a $20,000 non-refundable down payment and takes a mortgage, land contract, or AITD, all-inclusive trust deed for $160,000. See Table 1. Table 1 says note to invoice 160,000, 10% to 30 years is $1,447.27 monthly income. Existing first 140,077% to 30 years would be 900. Okay. Then the existing second 20,000 would be 15 years at $221 monthly outgo. So these are the monthly outgoes. This is the monthly income, which gives a net of $238.05. The $160,000 note wraps around the 140,000 and the 20,000. The total debt is 160. In this case, the investor has no equity in the note. The principal would collect 1,400 and pay out the first note payment of 987, the second note payment of 221, and keep the difference. When paid off, the investor must pay off the 160,000 to clear the title. So why sell on a wrap with no equity? Well, first, to make sure the underlying note gets paid. Second, to receive $238 per month cash flow. And three, possible defaults of buyers and forfeitures of $20,000 payment. I drink some water. This is deep, y'all. How y'all doing in the chat? Okay. Hey, psst, let me hit that. All right, moving on. Um, there are multiple ways to sell using seller financing. One way is via long term on a free and clear house, meaning no encumbrances or mortgages on the title. Suppose the seller calls the investor with a house worth $140,000 in good condition. The seller is asking $140,000 with no loan. My bad. With no loan, and after pre-screening, the investor finds that the seller would be willing to seller finance with a 10% down payment, $14,000. That would leave a balance of $126,000 mortgage, land contract, or deed of trust to the seller at the requested rate of 6% for 30 years with a 10-year balloon. In real estate, it is always wise to counteroffer for a potential discount so that the investor may look forward to a fair return profit on investment, offering a purchase price of 126 with 4,000 as a down payment, leaving a balance of 122 at 5% 30 years and 10-year balloon with a payment of $721 principal and interest, with the first payment due in 3 months, no due on sale clause. Once the deal is accepted, the principal, the investor, take advantage of their equitable interest and sells the property for $149,900 with no less than 20,000 down payment from their end buyer. This would leave a remaining balance of 129,900 deed of trust, wraparound mortgage, or land contract. The investor at 9.9% for 30 years with a 5-year balloon. A principal interest monthly payment of $1,197 would be rewarded. Structuring the deal in this manner would provide the following: $16,000 profit on down payment from the 20,000 from the end buyer, less 4,000 to the initial seller, plus 2 months income of $1,197 with no payment, $476 per month on payment spread, which is $1,197 incoming, less $721 outgoing, $7,900 minimum on the back end of the sale, $129,900 owed to the investor, less $122 the investor owes the initial seller. Profit increases each month because the income debt pays off slower than the outgoing due to the difference in interest rates. Discount when the principal is ready to pay off the initial seller due to their end buyer refinancing or selling. When possible, closing the sale the same day of purchase. Another possible deal structure would be a strategy known as subject to plus, a second to the seller. A seller calls the investor with a house in good condition worth for 130. There is a due on sale loan for $61,000 with a payment of $699.40 per month, including taxes and insurance. The seller is asking $130,000 cash for the house. Upon pre-screening, the investor learns that he would consider carrying a second for his equity if he gets a $13,000 down payment. It will provide the seller with a $56,000 equity payout as a second mortgage. Instead, the investor offers a $110,000 purchase price with an $8,000 down payment, and they take over the existing due on sale loan of $61,000 via subject and a payment of $699.40. PITI, $500 principal, interest, and $199.40 taxes and insurance. The remaining balance of $41,000 would be a second mortgage to the seller at 5% for 30 years with a 10-year balloon. Payment of $227.67 beginning in 3 months, and a total outgoing payment of $927.07. PITI $699.40 at $227.67 equals $927.07. Now, here is the interesting part. The investor sells the house at $139,900 with a minimum down payment of $15,000, which leaves a remaining balance of $124,900. Okay, land contract, trust deed of wraparound mortgage, 9.9% with a 5-year balance. The object payment would come to $1,177.07 PITI, which includes $977 principal and interest plus $199.40 taxes and insurance. Structuring a deal in this manner will provide the following: $7,000 instant profit from the down payment, spread plus a 2-month income of $1,177.07 with no payment due. Monthly payment spread $22,900 when the investor's end buyer pays off the loan. So that's $124,900 minus $41,000 equals $61,000. Large discount possibility. When possible, close the sale on the same day. The main objective is to target specific properties, beautiful houses in significant areas that at the medium price or above would be ideal. Low price properties attract buyers with no money and incur large default rates. Any property where the seller will agree to wait for their money or equity until the investor is cashed out from their end buyer or accept payments is a higher prospect property. Targeting ugly properties with a lot of equity, the investor can raise cash on their house is ideal as well. Conducting business with little to no risk with the best houses is the best in the best areas would promote better quality tenants and end buyers. Great houses in significant areas, meaning no junk. The investor, as the principal, would make much more profit on all income streams. More significant down payments due to higher valued houses, bigger monthly spreads, larger back end payouts. High value makes it easier to negotiate bigger spreads. If the investor sells with owner financing, there's less chance an end buyer will default because there is a higher income bracket and have more money or equity at trust. Buying with seller financing, the principal can create larger payouts by discounting the note later. The tools utilized to engage in selling with owner financing or a wraparound mortgage, land contract or land installment contract, agreement or deed, contract for deed, bond for deed, deed of trust, or all exclusive trust deed, AITD. The wrap is an all exclusive loan encompassing underlying financing, collecting a larger payment from the end buyer than what is paid out to the lender. Seller deeds to the buyers and takes back a note and mortgage. It must be prepared by a professional and will vary from state to state. The contracts and agreements are all terms that means the same thing, but the name will vary from state to state. As mentioned before, the word state is synonymous to the country. Every country has its own rules. The contracts and agreements serve the same purpose as a wraparound, but the deed remains with the seller until paid. The buyer acquires equitable interest in its property, which is a straightforward process. It is more complicated than completing a purchase and sale agreement. A deed of trust is a contract by which the property title is conveyed to a trustee for a loan's repayment, usually a non related entity. This contract involves two remaining parties. The trustor is the owner who borrows from the lender and the beneficiary as the lender. This document should always be prepared by a professional and varies from country to country in America's United States. Having a knowledgeable CPA and real estate attorney to draft all documents to be recorded inside the county recorder's office where the country is located is always recommended. No deal should go without legal counsel. Seller financing is but just one method savvy real estate investors use. There are seven more ways to profit quickly in real estate. In addition to seller financing, the second method would be wholesaling. It is a business of locating houses usually needing repairs at bargain prices and passing them to bargain hunters well below retail for an all cash deal transaction. The third method is retailing. This form of business of locating houses at bargain prices, usually rehabbing them and selling to the end buyer for all cash at the top of the market with new financing terms. The fourth method is getting ownership. The business of owning pretty houses in beautiful neighborhoods by taking over existing debt, subject to, or creating seller carrying back financing or combining the two. The fifth method is what is known as a lease option or as lease options. It takes control of a property by leasing it from the seller and retaining the option to purchase at an agreed upon price and terms. It also provides the rights to sublease the property from the investor. A sixth method is an option, which is an agreement the investor may buy without the right to sublease. For assigning contracts, the terms system, I'm sorry, it is an acronym for assigning contracts with terms system to a new buyer or a tenant buyer. The great Ron LeGrand invented the ACE system and is mostly applied to over-leveraged houses, allowing investors to do transactions over properties where most would turn down the deal. For example, a house in good condition is valued at $200,000 with a loan of $220,000 and a monthly payment of $1,650 with 27 years left. The investor agrees to lease purchase for the entire loan balance of $220,000 with a lease payment equal to the seller's mortgage payment of $1,650, which begins when a tenant buyer is located to assign the investor's contract. Once the tenant buyer is located, the investor assigns their contract with the initial seller's approval and collects a $10,000 assignment fee. This deal structure lets the investor never buy the house, no closing costs, no money needed, no risk, no costly attachment, and the investor can do 2 to 4 or more per month. In another type of transaction, such as a sandwich lease purchase or subject to, the investor would buy a house from the seller with the same value of $200,000 with 0% down and a loan in the amount of $180,000 with a monthly payment of $13,082. The investor sells to the end buyer at $219,000 and collects a $20,000 non-refundable down payment, leaving the buyer with a balance of $199,000 contributing a $1,800 first month payment to the investor. $20,000 was collected in just a few days, plus the investor will make $418 per month for years to come. Wow. And that $418 is because the $1,800 per month minus the $1,300 payment that is got to be paid for the mortgage, and that leaves a $418 profit. That's nice. Once tenant buyer cash is out, they keep all the cash above the loan payoff. Here is a 10-year profit recap. $20,000 original down payment, $1,800 first payment received. Okay. $50,160 monthly cash flow for 10 years. $35,000 estimated back in cash above loan payoff. That's approximately $106,960 net profit on a property that the investor got for free, using no money, no credit, no risk, no repairs, no banks, no realtors, and no short sales. Even better, 100% of the responsibility including repairs, is passed on to the buyer, including taxes and insurance, finalized in escrow. The privilege of home ownership is automatically given to the tenant buyer. Therefore, no maintenance would come from the investor. Many wealthy families or several nationalities utilize these real estate techniques to always stay above the water during any depression or financial economic crisis. And this is kind of what Robert Kiyosaki talks about. Using debt, utilizing debt through real estate. Okay. It says becoming a landlord will always provide a stream of revenue, as people will always need a roof over their heads. One important thing that families are about in banking is always having on hand strong financial statements if they may need to apply for credit to access capital, with the attempt to use good debt to make a profit. These families bond together and share their income, rotating each month income into each member's bank account as a legitimate deposit. At the end of the month, each member's income will be routed back to them. For instance, looking at a family of four, father earns $15,000 per month. The mother earns $15,000 per month. The first son earns $5,000 per month, and the second son earns $7,000 per month. Each family member would have their monthly earnings deposited into each other's unincorporated business association bank account at least once per month, consistently giving each member approximately $42,000 of monthly income. This same family would also take advantage of another strategy that banks and top tier corporations have used for over a century. This method is known as a high cash value whole life insurance policy, which builds generational wealth safely and allows the family to have their economy. Another term for this type of wealth building strategy is infinite banking, which has 5 fundamental principles. The first principle is safety. Markets are extremely volatile in the world of fractional reserve banking system. A volatile market only promotes unpredictability. Everyone thinks that the markets will go up forever, and then out of nowhere, all savings, all equity, all foreseeable profits are lost in the blink of an eye. In 2008, $2.1 trillion vanished in about the same time as it takes for one to brush their teeth in the morning. Many stock traders have a saying such as the market has a way of providing the market has a way of proving the most number of people wrong. It is all terrifying not knowing what will happen to all the money backed by hard earned labor? Many people had to put their retirement on hold due to the events of 2008, and it seems like it will happen again due to this global economic pandemic. Well, with a high cash value policy, it doesn't have to be that way. Strong insurance companies have been through every economic cycle without experiencing a loss and have protected many of their policyholders through good and bad times, such as the Great Depression. Almost all national associations and and credit unions have poured their capital into high cash value policies. They call it BOLI, bank-owned life insurance. And for the banks, these or those policies are put on the books as tier one assets. Being the safest asset, the board members and its owners have fewer concerns. As mentioned before, banks take the deposits of account holders and invest in the U.S. stock market and the foreign exchange market. Still, most of it goes into their high cash value policies to protect the money from a volatile, unpredictable market. If it is suitable for the banks, then it's good for anyone to take advantage of. The second principle is that the high cash value policy of office offers a tax-free growth opportunity. Pair this strategy with the irrevocable foreign express trust, identified by the EIN 98 prefix number as the policy's beneficial owner, and the assets are 100% tax-free on every dollar. The money would be tax-free on income while living and even after death in the hands of the beneficiaries. The third principle is there is an unlimited opportunity to access capital. People will always need to access capital, and with this type of high cash value policy, there is always access to cash without the need to apply for a loan. The fourth principle is the most often overlooked aspect. The most fantastic benefit of a high cash value policy is income at retirement. Should the policyholder choose to stop commerce engagement, at some point, retirement will be the subject matter as people move into another phase of their lives. Gaining from an accumulation plan to an income plan is very viable. It is to be a fact where career employees received a pension. I'm sorry. It used to be a fact where career employees received a pension when they retired and would have income for life. And now pension plans have been replaced with 401k with the 401k, which means the risk is all on the employee due to 401ks are at risk of the market. After all the fees are deducted, the taxes are paid. A retiree can't help but wonder if it's worth it at all. The best retirement is safe money, tax free, and predictable. Last but not least, the fifth principle is all about leaving a legacy. Nationals who are a part of the 0% tax bracket care about leaving an inheritance for the next generation. The inheritance must be protected in trust irrevocably with instructions and plans that will last for centuries. One of the biggest advantages of having a death benefit inside the high cash value policy is that the policyholder can spend down other buckets of cash while living, knowing the buckets will be replenished at death. Policy loans can also be taken against the policy's death benefit from its cash value account. Taking a look at a case study to use a high cash value policy to eliminate credit card debt of $30,000 with an interest rate of 11% to 28% and $300 per month payments. For this strategy to work, the policy cash value would be established first, meaning the policyholder must have some time invested to pay into their premium threshold, as mentioned in the third principle. The cash value may be accessed anytime by loaning and loaning from the cash value to pay off the credit card debt is similar to using a line of credit against the homeowner's property. Even though a homeowner takes out an equity line of credit, the home's value continues to rise annually, anywhere from 5 to 7%. The actual policy operates in the same manner. It is important to remember that borrowed money from the cash value account will remain at work for the policy holder as if it never left the policy. This is because of the dividends paid to the policy holder annually from the insurance company. And for this reason alone, infinite banking is the best banking tool known to man. A loan of $30,000 against the policy is used to pay off the credit card debt, and the regular 300 per month credit card payment would be used to pay back the policy loan balance rather than spending the $300 monthly cash flow. Some key advantages to this strategy are consolidate high interest debt. Policy loan interest rate is more favorable than credit cards, 5% to 6% simple interest. The repayment schedule is in the policyholder's contract. Repayments are optional, recommended but optional. One advantage to this strategy is that the policy loan never receives a single payment. The balance will compound the life insurance policy. The results are not necessarily a problem in all cases, but a fact to be made known is it will negatively impact the policyholder's cash value, death benefit growth. See table 1. Okay. So you guys can check out this table. I'm gonna just drink some water, pause and drink some water right quick. Okay, I'm back. So it says table 1 displays the policyholder at age 31 paying roughly $834 per month for a total of $10,000 per year into his high cash value policy. Okay. Um, in the first year of contribution, there is $8,568 as immediate cash to take out as a line of credit. At the beginning of year 5, the cash value breaks even at $38,939, and the policy holder is now ready to take out a policy loan to pay the credit card debt. Okay. Table 2 outlay, loan, interest, repay, balance. Okay. Cash value, death benefit. Okay. So it goes up the longer you hold it in there. Okay. So the impact of borrowing on the policy by comparing both tables, death benefits at the end of year 4 provides an astonishing revelation. Table 1 displays a cash value of $38,000 with a death benefit of $577,000. Table 2 displays the same cash value until year 5 with the $30,000 loan when the $30,000 loan is withdrawn, leaving a cash value of $19,044. The ending result is a dollar for dollar reduction in cash value and death benefit from $614,363 to $584. The policy loan is paid back with the same $300 per month credit card payment at $3,600 per year, which takes 12 years to complete. The loan policy's interest does not go towards the cash value or death benefit, but the actual insurance company itself. The advantage the advantage to the policyholder is that the loan is paid off in year 17. The cash value would be at $245,594, precisely the same cash value amount in year 17 if no policy loan was ever taken against the policy. Hmm. In a worst case scenario, suppose the policyholder takes a $30,000 loan to pay off the credit card debt. However, for some unforeseen reason, life happens and the borrower cannot repay the loan but can still contribute to the $10,000 per year premium. With a $30,000 policy loan taken out in year 5 and never paid back, the balance would reach $62,368 due to compound interest in year 20. At year 20, there would be $350,907 in cash value and $1,120,043 in death benefits without a policy loan, compared to a policy loan resulting in $250,000 cash value and 1,058,070 death benefit. A 65,000 difference, $65,000 difference due to the 5 to 6% dividend payouts by the insurance company to the policy, allowing the cash value and death benefit to grow exponentially while ignoring the policy loan. A cash value policy replaces the need for any bank loan or interest-bearing vehicle altogether. The policy provides access to capital for debt consolidation or investing anytime. Ultimate savings, a life insurance policy with high dividends, which is highly beneficial. All right, so that is the end of chapter 6, everyone. We've been on here for basically almost 2 hours. This was definitely one of those chapters that you got to take your time, and I got to go back and listen to it over and over. I'm well locked in. I'm happy. I'm already been doing some of these things in the book. Awesome, love. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So that concludes today's reading, you guys. Yeah, we're gonna come back tomorrow with chapter 7. Let's see how many more pages we got left. So it's less than 100 pages. So we should be able to get through that, I don't know, tomorrow. Within tomorrow and the next day. Okay? So if you'd like to make a donation, just to show me some love, you guys, you most definitely can do that. using any of the information in the description area of this video. I accept payments through CHIME, through Zelle, and if you want to send through Cash App, you just email me. I don't want to put the Cash App out there like that. So, but I will email it to you if you email me at ShayMarieInc.com. I do appreciate you all for your support and your love. You guys can hear me, right? Miss Vicky said I'm muted. You guys can't hear me? Hello? Okay. Not sure. Yeah, you know, I appreciate you all. We're going to come back tomorrow and finish this book. And I have another book that we'll be going over too after this book called One Man Out. So we'll be getting into that book. Most definitely. Getting down to the nitty gritty. Thankful and grateful for all of the other books that we've been able to read. All of the other books that we've been able to read and get more of understanding of. Okay, thank you for letting me know that, Mr. Walker. Yes, we can hear you clearly. Okay, appreciate that. Okay. So One Man Out is going to be the next book. All of the other books have led us to this and hasn't necessarily given us all of the remedy, but we can put all of these things together and be able to accomplish all of these amazing things that this book is talking about. It's definitely some deep stuff, some very deep stuff. We're going to start diving into it and elevating our mind, elevating our consciousness, and telling ourselves that we can do this. This is for us. This was meant for us. So with that being said, you guys, thank you again. I'm going to go ahead and end the live for today. Appreciate you all. See you all tomorrow. And you enjoy the rest of your day.